Live from the I-10 corridor, it's the Dave Nemo Show.
Peter Wild is in his truck up in Hutchinson, Kansas, and we are about to talk about, well, I don't know if he'll take that truck. We'll find out what truck he's going to bring to the National Convention and Truck Show we just talked about, of course, hosted by the American Truck Historical Society, coming up in less than a month, June 5th, 6th, and 7th. Sounds like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday to me, and it's at the Alliant Energy Center up in Madison, Wisconsin. And Pete is the convention committee chair. And Pete, I'm going to ask you a question because I know what a job you just signed up for. Did you lose a bet or what? Good morning.
Morning. I don't know how I really got the job. I think it's just part of being an active member, and I just kind of got volunteered into it. So I don't know how to say no, apparently.
Well, it's hard to say no to anybody at ATHS. It's one of the most remarkable group of people I've ever met in my life, and you are one of them. So what a great bunch of people to be hooked into, huh?
Oh, yes. It takes a team, and I got a lot of great people that help me out with it. So
you're on a run right now. As a matter of fact, you've pulled over, but you're in your garbage truck right now.
Correct. Yep. I'm already halfway done with my route for the day, and it's a beautiful, cool morning here in Kansas, so might as well stop and enjoy the weather for once. Ah,
yeah. So what is your day like? Now you got to be an early morning person. So when do you wake up? When do you hit the road? Can talk a little bit about your day. We got some time here. Tell us a little bit about how you conduct your operation.
I wake up about 2:30 in the morning, and then usually about 3:30 I'm pre-trip in the truck and all that, and then usually I start my route around 4, and depending on the day and the route, I'll have anywhere from 80 to 110 stops. Depends if we're doing trash or recycling for the day, and what county I'm running into, and never leave more than about a 60-mile radius from the house there. So pretty nice job, nice equipment, usually done by 1 or 2, and after that I head out to the shop and start working on other projects, try and get everything ready for shows in the summer, and it's kind of nice being off earlier in the day. So
yeah, for sure. Now, do you have one of the trucks with the grab arms that pick up the cans?
I have the what they call it, a front loader. I got it's kind of like a forklift. I got forks on the front that we pick up big commercial dumpsters. We pick up anywhere from like 2 to 10-yard containers.
Oh, okay. So you don't really do the residential then?
Nope, I don't do the residential routes. There's some out in the country people that have a larger 2-yard, but nope, everything I do is with the forks on front, and only time you got to get out of the truck is when you got corrals or extra trash, and otherwise it's pretty simple.
Gotcha. So you're on your own in the truck. You don't have anybody with you.
No, unless I have a trainer that's learning the new route, or one of the bosses wants to ride along for seeing the new stops that we get added on. But most of the time it's just me and the radio.
Gotcha. Well, Pete, let's head north then for both of us. Madison, Wisconsin, the Alliant Energy Center. Last year, we were at the event, of course, in York, Pennsylvania. Did 24 little reels, very, very little short videos that are on YouTube. Go to youtube.com. At Radio Nemo, and all of those videos from York, Pennsylvania are there. But this is an incredible... Now, the thing about the American Truck Historical Society is that you guys have shows all the time. You have different chapters all over the country, and there are regional shows and local shows. This is the big kahuna, though. This is the one where I'm thinking that it's going to get, if it doesn't hit 1,000, it's going to get really close to 1,000 trucks this year. It was over 800 in York, huh?
Yeah, I believe York, we were just shy, if I remember right. I want to say it was like 970 or something.
Was it that much? Yeah. By the time we weren't able to stay for the full time. We did our broadcasts, and then we kind of hit and run, so to speak. So wow, okay, then pretty certain. But it was 800 and change when we were there. My joke was there's 850 trucks and 851 golf carts.
The golf carts are really handy at those shows.
Woo, boy, I'll tell you what,
At,
to have the concession on golf carts is where you want to be. That's for sure.
well, as many trucks as they are, if you walk around them all day, your legs will be tired. So
Yeah, yeah. So your job is whacking moles and herding cats all at the same time now, right? Putting this thing together.
pretty much, I get to do all the fun stuff of helping organize it. But like I said earlier, I got a great team that helps me put it all together, and a lot of it is just organizing it and thinking what problems are we going to run into and how we can avoid them beforehand. So it's a lot of pre-planning.
Yes.
But
Now, as we mentioned earlier, May 11th was the registration. Well, that's when the registration online closed a couple of days ago. We've been announcing that. So what do folks do now in terms of registering to come to the show?
so our registration has already ended for pre-registration for the show, and we are, as of May 11th, we have 521 trucks registered, plus about 98 trailers. So we're already over that 600 mark.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
I hope to see 1,000 units, and depending on the weather and everything, I think it's very possible that we will break 1,000 this year. So now, though, that
Yes.
our registration is ended per se, we will have. You can still find the schedule and everything online, but we will do registration at the show. You can walk up, drive up, and register right there on site.
We saw that at York too, and I can imagine now that you said how many you really had and how many we saw when Tara and I were there. We weren't there for the last day, but there were a lot of folks coming in and doing just that, which basically, well, you're not going to get turned away. Let's put it that way.
No, we won't turn anybody away. We want everybody to come in, and it does not matter if you have a truck that you just pulled out of the hedgerow that's not moved in 40 years and you pull it on a trailer, or if you got a truck that you've restored and it's been sitting in the barn and it's mint condition. We like every truck, big, small, shiny, rusty. The better the story of the truck, the better, in my opinion, it is.
And boy, don't they all have stories. I mean, each and every one of them has a story.
The best ones are when you get the old timers that have had that truck for 40, 50 years, and it's not 100% original because they've swapped. They had a 350 Cummins in it, and they've upgraded it over years, and they've put 4 different engines in it and 5 different transmissions, and this is how they've done it. It's amazing what you'll see and hear how people have done everything to keep trucks going and providing an earning for their families.
One of the things too, and this is a good opportunity, Pete. Pete Wild is with us. Peter is the convention chairman, convention committee chairman at ATHS for the National Convention and Truck Show. It's going to be up in Madison, Wisconsin, this year at the Alliant Energy Center next month, June 5th, 6th, and 7th. Tell you what. I'm looking at the clock. We're due for a break. Let's take the break right here, Pete, and then when we come back, let's talk about old trucks, new trucks, what trucks are part and parcel, because when you say historical society, well, that means old trucks, but I think you can bring a new truck into if you want to, and doesn't have to be a big rig. So we're kind of walk through some of the details when we come back on the American Truck Historical Society. Well, not quite Alberta, but we'll be pretty close, closer than we are right now, that's for sure. Pete Wild is with us in Hutchinson, Kansas. He is the American Truck Historical Society Convention Committee Chairman. and we are really looking forward to hearing some more about what to expect at the convention this year. So let's kind of do the old truck, new truck kind of a thing. You know, some folks will say, well, you know, it's not a historic truck if it's not 25 years old or 20 years old. We get into all of that stuff. Obviously, you'll have trucks from the 19 teens there. And some of those are like, I remember the old wrecker that we talked about on one of the reels. So give us a little bit of a clue as to what kind of trucks are going to be there.
Well, like you said, Dave, we have trucks from pretty much every decade. We'll have a lot from the brass air, which are always unique to me since there's so many different makes that you've never heard of that people will bring out of the but on the newer trucks, the thing that I always get a kick out of is if you go back to our shows in the past years, and I remember the show in 2002 in the Kansas City area, that's been what, 21 years ago. There was only 4 Freightliners there back at that show.
Wow.
Now at our shows, we'll have 60, 80, 90 Freightliners. A lot of the guys are running the 70s, 80s, and 90s Freightliners, and those are antiques today. So just because we are the American Truck Historical Society and we're antiques and historical, people don't realize that trucks from the 80s and 90s, even the early 2000s now, are technically antiques. So we love seeing those trucks.
I feel real at home with antiques, Pete. So I'll be, you know. Okay, so we have your Class 8 tractor. And you say trailers, you know, well, obviously trailers are part and parcel of that. Some of these are working trucks, too, that come in that are actually on a run, which is interesting as well. But what are some of the different varieties and applications? I mentioned tow trucks from the 19 teens. I think it was a 1917 auto car, if I'm not mistaken.
I remember that one. It was a 1914 white, and they were pulling a 1910 International High Wheeler, if I remember right.
Yes, boy, you got a much better memory. Well, anybody can tell you that. Yeah, I can picture it, right? Yeah, picture those two trucks together. Yeah.
But size-wise of trucks, it doesn't matter. I mean, pickups, you go back to the 50s, every farmer, every trucking company had a pickup for running parts and running errands, and a lot of people kept the pickups because they're easier to maintain and store and drive around town than the semis. So pickups, farm trucks, we'll even get into the fire trucks, military trucks. I mean, anything with wheels that goes down the highway, you'll pretty much see there.
Got
and then
it.
on
Yeah.
the trailer aspect is one of my favorite ones because you'll see lowboys, you'll see livestock trailers, tankers, dry vans, reefers. I mean, every type of deal is there. One of our learning sessions we're doing this year is actually on winch trucks that we're going to be doing a daily deal, actually running a winch truck, explaining how they operate, how to do it safely, and actually giving a performance. So tow trucks, oil field trucks, that type of stuff.
You know, you bring up something that I meant to ask you actually earlier, and you kind of jogged my memory in terms of, well, we have the truck show, and that's all we've been talking about here this morning, Peter. But it's also the convention. So there are meetings, seminars, decisions being made. Do you have to be a member of ATHS to be in the show?
No, you do not. Anybody is welcome to attend. With your daily admission for the shows, we have learning sessions. Like I said, we're doing a daily one on the winch trucks, actually explaining how they work. And then we are doing some more in-depth ones on, like, we're doing one titled Keep the Wheels Turning by Eric. He's going to talk about wheels, Being in Wisconsin, one of the main companies up there, Oshkosh, we're talking about them and how they helped develop four-wheel drives and their history. One of our members, Tony Martin, he's doing a seminar on air brake systems and Road Ranger transmissions. I don't know if you remember at York, but he actually had a hands-on display about wedge brake systems. So I don't know if he's actually going to be bringing some more hands-on stuff so you can actually see diagrams and stuff.
Yeah, so there's a lot more behind the scenes than you might think.
Mm-hmm. We also have some other ones on like frame modifications. Tom Clark, he was a guy with the International Harvesters. He's going to be talking about their history. We have one about horsepower and torque. And then we're also doing one this year that I think will be a big hit. We're talking about interior upholstery and how to design and actually make your own door panels and stuff like that.
Like cherry pie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kickoff party Wednesday evening. Ice cream social. There's an awards banquet and tours and things like that. There are just a lot of events. Bring the family, right?
Mm-hmm. We're also doing a light show on Thursday night after the ice cream social, which I think is always fun. You always get to see the trucks, but to walk through at nighttime and see them all lit up with their marker lights on and makes you feel like you're walking back at the truck stop back in the day.
Absolutely. With 1,000 trucks.
Yes.
The world's largest parking lot. Pete, thank you so much for taking some time. I know you're on the job right now, so I thank you so much for taking a break with us here this morning, but I know you got to get back to work, and I know your work is cut out for you as we get closer and closer to the event up there in Madison, and we'll talk again.
Sounds good. Can't wait to see you.
Pete Wild, everybody. He is the convention committee chair at the ATHS for this year's event up in Madison, Wisconsin. So the web address is ATHS, that stands for American Truck Historical Society, ATHS.org, ATHS.org.